Growing up in the Santa Maria Valley on the Central Coast, I was surrounded by some of the state's best wineries and vineyards, what I consider the world's best Santa Maria-style barbecue, minutes away from gorgeous sandy beaches, and its coastal climate allowed for strawberry and broccoli fields to stretch as far as the eye could see. With over 7 billion people now occupying planet Earth, it is crucial to develop cheap, reliable, and also safe forms of renewable energy, not only to preserve our beautiful hometowns, but also everywhere else on Earth. Earth contains a wide assortment of energy sources, however, many of which are finite. Not only are the Earth's resources at risk of depletion, but the world could very well face a population collapse unless resources are consumed sustainably in the future. In the United States, energy is particularly derived from oil and related products. However, some scientists believe that we will soon reach peak oil, or the maximum level of oil production. Once this level is reached, oil production will begin to decline, and many believe that renewable energies will provide the answer to many of Earth's depleting resources. Cultivating soybeans, sunflowers, and algae for biodiesel, along with implementing solar and wind technologies for electricity, are currently among the focus of energy research today. Although the United States Energy Information Administration's annual energy outlook of 2013 predicts the national energy assortment will be dominated by renewable energy sources by the year 2040, there are still opponents to this issue who believe the wall might be too tall to climb. The demand for renewable energy is increasing in the United States every year. According to the Earth Policy Institute, U.S. wind electricity generating capacity was 1,484 megawatts in 1990, and by 2013, it had risen to 61,091 megawatts, or 4.13% of U.S. electricity. Wind energy is harnessed through a turbine that is placed in a desirable, preferably windy location. Wind is a very desirable energy resource for a couple different reasons. Unlike oil and natural gas, wind is one resource that cannot be depleted. Wind turbines are also one of the few power plants that do not require water, which means that the United States reaches its goal of 20% wind energy by 2030, electricity-related water usage would decrease by about 4 trillion gallons. 1/4 of the United States wind energy systems are currently located in Texas due to the large amount of open lands and strong winds. Biofuels are another example of renewable energy. Currently, biofuels account for a small portion of our nation's renewable energy, but production is expected to increase by 40% by the year 2040. Biofuel resources are processed through biochemical and thermochemical means, such as sugar fermentation, gasification, and cellulose hydrolysis. Through these processes, ethanol, biodiesel, and other fuel types can be yielded and used in spark ignition and compression ignition engines. Cellulosic biomass, microbes and algae, soybeans, corn, and sugarcane are all common biofuel feedstocks, which must be processed differently to produce fuel. Solar energy is another emerging form of renewable energy, but currently only accounts for a small percentage of the electricity generation in the United States. Solar energy is the energy harnessed directly from the sun's rays. Two main methods are used to convert the sun's rays into energy. The first method is through solar thermal plants, which uses the sun's rays to heat liquid into steam to drive turbines, which generates electricity. The second method is by using solar cells or photovoltaic cells converting the sun's light, or photons, directly into electricity, or voltage. There are clearly many benefits to making the switch to renewable energies. However, there are still some opponents who believe achieving this goal may be more difficult than some believe. As it pertains to biofuels, certain infrastructures must exist to support each process of creating these. For example, corn ethanol is the most well-known form of biofuel in the United States, yet infrastructure and demand issues have hindered its overall success so far. Like biofuels, wind and solar energy sources are also facing opposition. Along with the high cost of building and installing wind turbines comes a question of where to put these machines. Other factors such as temperature and wind extremes, the presence of icing, surrounding foliage, and buildings are also major problems when deciding where to place a turbine. Another article suggested some environmentalists oppose these turbines because they can pose threats to flying birds and also hinder scenic views. There are two main drawbacks to using solar energy. Number one is that there's not always sunlight available to collect and harness the energy, and number two, there's a huge amount of land needed for each facility to work efficiently. Due to the large amount of land that is required, solar farms have the potential of harming the ecosystems in which they are located. These drawbacks, along with the high cost of establishing solar plants, have hindered the wider use of this type of energy. The formation and implementation of renewable energy resources is still a work in progress, and the results of switching to these types of energies are still being heavily researched. The controversy with this issue is understandable. However, it is crucial to develop cheap, reliable, and also safe forms of renewable energy in order to slow the effects of climate change and create a more sustainable planet. A resolution to this issue will only come through educating the public about the importance of sustainable energy and the implementation of a policy by government.